Radford and Lotus are collaborating to build a new Lotus.
One of the best, if not the best, sports car manufacturers in the world.
Mark's really good at what he does. Jensen's really good at world class at what he does. And I can bolt some stuff together. It's gonna work.
And interview, take one, marker.
By some sort of bizarre twist of fate, 3 British guys have landed and found themselves in California at exactly the same time. One a designer, me a builder, and one a driver.
My name's Mark Stubbs. I'm a car designer. I've been in the industry for 20 years.
My name is Ant Anstead, and I'm a mechanic and a car builder.
My name is Jensen Button, and I am the drive part of Radford.
Probably my best time was when I was working at Bugatti.
My passion for cars came from my father, and it was also watching Formula One. You know, I used to watch Formula One with my dad. And then when I was 7, my dad bought me a go-kart, and that's where the racing started.
Together, the 3 of us are Radford.
While the likes of Henry were making cars for the masses, companies that just built the bodies were called coach builders. Bursting onto the scene was a company called Radford. Launched in 1948 with a coach-built Radford Rolls-Royce. Over the years, they followed up with some big hits.
The Le Mans 24-hour race at last.
For some pretty special people. To relaunch Radford, the boys need a platform. In the time-honoured tradition of coach building, Lotus are giving Radford a chassis to start from, and Radford gets to choose from the Elise, the Exige, or the Evora. Jensen already knows the answer.
Wow. I'm kind of lost for words. Oh, the sound of that V6 engine. Because it's supercharged, it keeps the sound, whereas if you have a turbo, it takes away that crisp rawness.
Lotus have been building cars at Hethel for over 50 years, but the company fortunes turned when they introduced the iconic Elise over 25 years ago.
It's rather twitchy. All of the Lotuses are quite short cars. The big thing for me is the position of everything. You know, the position of the pedals to the steering wheel. This is all really important stuff for me to make you feel like you're part of the car. I think the decision is made from my point of view. It has to be an emotional decision. Obviously, I want to build something that is very special, and this is the base for that. For me, if I was going to choose a car for our Radford, it has to be the Exige. It has to be this base. Because it just puts a smile on your face every second you're in it.
With Ant and Jensen securing a rare deal with Lotus and Jensen selecting the Exige, it means Radford has its platform to build on. Mark now has to make some important design decisions. The big question is, do they know where he's planning to take the project?
No, I've not discussed this yet with Jensen and Ant, you know. Being a designer, it's all about communicating what you see. So I'll sketch, I'll do that, and then when I'm ready, and they know that as well, when I'm ready, I'll show them something.
Isn't that going to upset them?
It will upset them if they know I'm working on something but not showing them. But it won't upset them if they don't know what I've worked on, but I present a new idea and they love it. You know, that's the way I've got to sell it to them.
Mark's hardest job is to capture the heritage of Lotus. It's a new Radford, but it needs Lotus design DNA that starts with a look back at the past. With Jensen choosing the Exige, a mid-engine car, this discounts the front-engined Elan and even the first ever Lotus road car, the Elite. This is an interesting time at Lotus, as they are not only shelving the iconic chassis platform, but petrol engines too. Yep, The future at Lotus is 100% electric. As Radford's only designer, it is now Mark's job to design everything that sits on top of the Lotus XE chassis that Jensen has chosen as the team's new platform.
This smile hasn't left my face. There are a few things that we might change. As much as I enjoy driving this, it's very twitchy, and this is with 390 horsepower. This is definitely the best base for our Radford.
Lotus have emailed Radford the CAD data for the B surface. This level of instant information sharing from 6,000 miles away could never have happened in the golden age of coach building. The marriage of old and new epitomizes Radford's approach.
I've always wanted to be in control, fully in control of my own destiny, you know? And me being able to start Radford and be a part of Radford is just lets me design what I feel is right, you know?
I went to a car show in Crystal Cove and I met Mark. And then Mark just kind of dropped one day. He goes, oh, I've been working with this kind of brand that I've acquired. It's called Radford. I'm like, Radford? Like the guys that make the Minis?
The interesting thing about Radford, they really individualized the Mini, so anybody who was anybody in the 1960s pretty much had a Radford Mini, you know.
And then we sat down over a drink, and he taught me through the heritage, and he'd actually done an awful lot of research on it, and pulled together this kind of really cool, historically archived, significant. It was just amazing. Like, we need to bring back Radford. The world is ready right now. The world is ready for a heritage brand. It can't, the timing's perfect.
And right now, heritage is back. Manufacturers are looking at their past. Aston will make you a new Goldfinger DB5, Jaguar a new XK-SS or C-Type, even Bentley are making brand new blowers.
And quite frankly, I think we just want to bring Radford back because it had such a special history, and it's kind of disappeared, which is a real shame. So this is the best story. I love the way that you've talked about how you guys met.
I step out the car and obviously I've got a British accent. And we're like, yes, like straight away, kind of hit it off, you know? And then you said, oh, you probably know who I am. And I said,
No, I did not say that. I did not, I'm not having that. That is absolutely terrible. You're out of order.
and I said, I'm sorry, I don't, you know?
Oh, no, that's embarrassing.
Lotus have been building cars in Norfolk since 1966.
This is where we build our chassis. For me, the Exige platform is the one for us to go with.
Yeah, it's the most ruthless and it's the most brutal.
So you would choose...
I'd choose the Exige.
So you've got a couple of Exige chassis in there that we're going to stick together?
Yes, definitely, yeah.
It's been a
How many of
bloodbath.
these do you reckon you do a day?
At least a box.
No, not gloves, cars.
Oh, I love that.
There you go.
Just like a house needs a strong foundation, the base of Radford's first ever supercar needs a strong yet lightweight platform. Ant and Jensen jump in with the Lotus techs and help build their new chassis.
Dude, you built a... What's that? That must be the steering bulkhead.
Do we just hold it now?
I hope not.
For an hour and a half until it goes off.
Having bonded together the Exige chassis, it's placed in an oven to cure, and then over to the production line to start the first fitting up of parts. That's Lotus's side of the deal.
Cheers, guys.
All the best, guys.
Man, I'll...
Oh, mate, I absolutely love it. 25 years, and the simplicity is still here, but the lightweightness, the rigidity, mega.
That's the quickest Exige steel in history.
Racing was Colin Chapman's passion from the start, and his love for the sport remained undimmed his whole life.
A shout of victory from Colin Chapman.
By the mid-1950s, Lotus cars had begun to dominate club racing.
This again was won by Naylor's Connaught engine Lotus, a very potent piece of machinery.
This success meant Chapman was in demand, and he was asked to design the Van Wall F1 car, which was crowned the first ever F1 Constructors World Champion in 1958. Chapman's design had won in Formula One at his very first attempt. Ferrari was not happy. Amazingly, Chapman's ambitious new team Lotus, funded by selling road cars and customer racing cars, entered Formula One the same year.
And the man behind the Lotus, Colin Chapman.
And by 1960, a Lotus had won a Formula One Grand Prix when Stirling Moss took Rob Walker's car to victory in the Monaco Grand Prix. But the 1960s was all about Chapman's relationship with Jim Clark. The Quiet Scot took Lotus's first 2 Formula One World Championships in 1963 and 65. Plus a win at the biggest race on the planet, the Indy 500.
Car builder Colin Chapman, and he dances down the pits like a ballet artist.
Jim Clark, twice world champion. Quiet-spoken, dedicated, the complete professional.
Clark perished when his Formula 2 Lotus speared off the track at Hockenheim in 1968. He was killed instantly. Graham Hill, a longtime friend who'd originally worked for Chapman as a mechanic, rallied the team and won the World Championship that year using the revolutionary Lotus 49. A feat repeated by Jochen Rindt in 1970, who was awarded the crown posthumously after he perished in a crash at Monza. With Gold Leaf sponsorship turning into the iconic black and gold JPS livery, Chapman's team kept innovating. He moved the radiators to the side, made the car a wedge shape, netted another world championship in 1972, this time with Emerson Fittipaldi at the wheel. Lotus then revolutionized the sport again, creating the first ground effect Formula One car. A car which American driver Mario Andretti was so excited about, he famously said, "Man, that car was painted to the road." And that technology brought Lotus their last Formula One championship in 1978. Chapman passed away unexpectedly in 1982, but the team he created had one last hurrah, giving a promising young driver called Ayrton Senna the chance to take his first Formula One victory and keep the legacy alive. With a break in the day, Jensen meets up with Clive Chapman, who is the son of Colin Chapman, the original founder of Lotus.
So it's been 33 years since Lotus put their badge on the front of somebody else's car. What advice would you give us?
God, well, you're basically making yourselves constructors. I mean, you've been a racing driver, and I know you've been involved with a team, but to actually be a constructor of a car, to create something, that's a real challenge. So be prepared for a tough couple of years.
Oh, fantastic. How exciting.
And we're just happy to cheer on from the sidelines. So we really want you to succeed.
Cheers, Clive.
OK, thanks,
Thank
Jensen.
you.
Good luck.
Cheers.
Colin Chapman founded Lotus in 1948, but they came of age in 1954 by beating the factory Porsches at Silverstone. This victory set Lotus on a path to glory on both track and road.
Before there was cars, there was coaches, and we had a lot of people, coach builders, that built coaches for people, and that's where the name comes from, coach building. And that was the only way to really get a car back then. And obviously mass production took over, and then kind of the demise of coach building really started to happen. And unfortunately, a lot of these companies, you know, did actually go out of business.
These coach building companies disappeared, and it's really sad. And it's great that we can bring Radford back for now and the future of Radford, but also to tell the story of Radford, the parts that people have missed out on. You know, that Radford built the first Ford GT40. Most people don't know that. I didn't know that before I joined Radford and joined the team. And I think that's why it's so exciting to have the company as Radford, to bring Radford back.
As Mark waits for the lads to pick him up, he brings us up to speed on the Lotus car he has chosen to base Radford's new car on.
We're building a car that's based on a new version of the Type 62, which was an old Europa, which was a race car variant. It's a car that they only made 2 of, and not many people would know them.
With Jim Clark winning in Formula One and the Elan selling well, Colin Chapman spotted the potential of Renault's new front-wheel drive R16 at the 1965 Paris Motor Show and did a deal with Renault to use the lightweight aluminium 1.5-litre engine and gearbox, which he, with typical Chapman ingenuity, mounted in a mid-engine sports car instead of a front-wheel drive family car. Chapman tasked engineer Martin Wade with designing a new back-to-basics lightweight mid-engine sports car. The result was the Type 46 Europa, so named because it was initially sold only in Europe. Launched in December of 1966, it was an immediate hit with over 1,250 made in the first 2 years. Big numbers for a small manufacturer. Lotus being Lotus launched a racing version immediately, the Type 47. John Miles and Jackie Oliver took it to class victory in the prestigious 1968 BOAC 500 at Brands Hatch. Lotus, meanwhile, were developing a new engine which became the 900 series, which powered the Esprit, Eclat and other models in the 1970s and 80s, and even won a World Rally Championship powering the Talbot Sunbeam Lotus. To test this new engine in the Lotus way, they needed to build a racing car to fit it in, and then go racing. So Chapman again tasked Martin Wade, this time to design a new 2-litre sports racing car as a testbed for the new engine. Although the space frame chassis was bespoke, the natural thing to do for both availability and marketing was to use a customised Europa body shell, and the Type 62 was born. One of the original Lotus Type 62s is based in Japan, so it's an absolute miracle that the second Type 62 happens to live just down the road from the Radford office.
I think one of the cars that's really interesting because it embodies a lot of the things we do today, but does it back in the day, is the Type 62.
That's our car!
I told you guys. This is it.
The 62 came out at an interesting time for motorsport, just as aerodynamics were really starting to play a part. And Martin Wade, in particular, was really at the forefront of that.
It's pretty low, isn't it?
Yeah,
Look at it. Man. It's like waist height.
The performance of the car, the power of the car, the size of the tyres really meant that you needed more downforce. The weight of the car wasn't going to give you that because it was so light. And aerodynamics was the way to do it. And again, Martin Wade led the way with some pretty spectacular spoilers which were added to the car.
The aerodynamic lift on that body shape was significant. So you had to kill that lift, and the only way to do it was those rather dramatic, high incidence, large surface area wings, which balanced the car out.
Wow. She's a stunner.
They're clearly Lotuses because they're very compact, weight-efficient cars, but they have a bit of muscularity to them. You know, they look a bit grown up, a bit serious.
All the suspension attributes of a Formula car, it had to be correct as a race vehicle and competitive straight away. So it had to hit the track and win.
Guys, I'd like to introduce you. This is Mark, Alex.
Hey, Alex, pleased to meet you.
This is Jensen.
Nice
to meet you, champ. This is Alex, the owner and actually restorer of this car, right?
Alex spent 9 years on this masterful restoration, but his interest in the Type 62 started roughly 20 years before he acquired it.
I even have the first article where I saw this car when it was first introduced and raced in hopes someday of owning it. And lo and behold,
and now you do.
Dreams come true. So.
That's amazing. So Mark, Jensen and myself, we're actually working with the Lotus factory today. We're actually going to be bringing out a new car using their new platform, which will be the Exige.
Right.
But we're going to take the modern engineering, the modern suspension, steering, wiring, cooling, fuel system.
Right.
And we're going to build a body on top. What would you choose?
Well, it's the swoopiest looking one, that's for sure.
Mark, is the word swoopiest, is that a cool design word?
I like that. I'll take it, yeah.
Of course, Jensen has to get inside the cockpit.
Click it all the way on.
Yeah. There you go. It's such a wonderful position. You really do feel part of this car. What are the main attributes you think we need to make it a true Lotus?
Well, one thing about the Lotus cars, even the road cars, is they all feel like race cars. So it's got to be like a race car, and I suspect that your job is to make it a race car.
I think we all appreciate what you have achieved here with this wonderful car.
The labor of love.
You know, I've got to scan this thing and then we can work out like where it is relative to the data that they've sent over on the Exige.
Mark is using a handheld 3D scanner that is capturing the body shape of the Type 62. These outer panels are known as the A surface. This scan will mesh with the Lotus bit, the underbelly that's known as the B surface. The Type 62 was not only a test bed for the new Esprit engine, it also heralded the birth of an advertising revolution. Chapman recognized that race cars were moving billboards, and for the first time ever, that space was sold to a non-auto sponsor, in this case, the tobacco company Goldleaf. This opened the floodgates for a whole new backdrop of sponsors, and the race community was changed forever. The two prototype rolling chassis have finally arrived from Lotus. They are the bare bones onto which Radford need to work their magic.
You know, I come obviously from a racing driver background, but you know, most of the driving I do is on the road, and you want to feel comfortable in a road situation. But then, if you want to go a little bit quicker on a track or something, you want to know that the car is underneath you and it's going to do what you expect it to. It's not going to be lazy. It's going to have a front end when you need it. When you hit the brakes, it's not going to swap direction.
You don't want to keep this, right?
Yeah. A steering wheel would be nice, yeah, but maybe not that one.
All right.
Seats have got to stay, yeah. We need seats. It's always great when you walk up to it and think, oh, it's beautiful. But if you get in it and you feel like you're sat too high or the steering wheel's too far away and you don't feel part of that car, you lose it all and you just want to walk away from it. And you go and look at something else or buy something else.
We're building two cars. One's going to be for Ant, one's going to be for Jensen. So the great thing about that is they're going to be different, you know? So we can also, you know, highlight how, as a coach builder, we can make them different for different people.
So the pressure's on us until we deliver all 62 cars.
It's an early start for Mark as he works on the designs for Radford's newest supercar, and he's excited to share it with Ant.
Sit down. I want to just walk you through it, okay? All right.
This better be good.
So we've got the 62. This is the original 62, right? So we scanned it, we remodeled it, and we got it all digitally. So, and we've got the Exige digitally, right? And you know we've got to basically take this design and put it on the Exige.
Okay.
It's completely different though. Look, the proportions are different, the size is different. It's just a completely different platform, right? So you can't just scale that car up and then call it done. So on the Exige, we've got front wheel, rear wheel, and then we can get 2 3/4 wheels between it, right? So we want to try and replicate that, all right? But when we look at the 62, there's the front wheel, the rear wheel, and when you put the wheels between, it's got way more wheelbase proportionally than the Exige. Because the goal is to fit it onto the Exige platform, right? We want to change as little as possible.
No, don't want to change it to...
Yeah, but we are a coach builder.
No,
but just
because it's a Lotus Exige. It's one of the best handling cars on the road.
So this is what it looks like, you know, on the Exige.
Beautiful.
No, but mate, it's not
Not only
right.
does it look good, but it's going to handle and drive like an Exige.
If the proportions aren't right, the car just won't feel right. Look at this, okay? So we've got a front wheel, rear wheel, and this basically follows the same concept as the Type 62 proportions. So if I go back and forth between them, you can see the difference, right?
Okay, and in real terms, what is that difference, dimensionally? How big is that?
It's going to be 100 mil.
4 inches.
Yeah.
You want to change the car.
Good morning. How's it going?
Would you say the Exige is a really good driver's car, right?
Yeah, well, that's the reason why we're working with it.
Right.
That's why it's our base.
Stubbsy wants to change it. He wants to add 100 millimeters, which means completely altering the Lotus engineering.
There's no way that I can say yes to this unless I'm able to test it and compare it against the original car. You're going to change it from more of a mid-engine car to kind of a rear-engine car.
Still going to be mid-engined, but it would be nice, like I say, if we could keep the weight forward.
We have a great base. We are changing it slightly, but it means that I can have more involvement now to make this into a very special Radford Lotus.
Exactly. He kind of has a point.
This is gonna kill us.
We're not just creating a new Exige. It's a new car. It's a Type 62. So we've got to capture those core things that make it a Type 62. And the basis of the proportions is the most important part of that.
I mean, it is an awful lot of... It's an awful lot of work. I mean, think about it. We're going to have to replace these rear struts. They're not going to fit. Fabricate something to take the rear subframe away from the chassis. Plus, we're going to have to modify... I mean, the front lower wishbones, they bolt to the chassis, so they're going to have to come back 100 millimetres. Plus, the gearbox mount there, that's going to have to come back. And then we've got the coolant lines that run via the car, the gear linkage cables, the handbrake cable, the brake lines, the wiring loom. Plus, there's going to be a load of plumbing, all of it.
And there's a couple more things. It's going to change the balance.
Exactly.
So we're going to have to change other parts of the car to help with the balance of the car.
Well, my vote is that we don't make the change. The juice just isn't worth the squeeze.
It's not a question of if we have to do the change, you know? So my vote is there's no other option other than we have to.
My vote is that we have two chassis at the moment, right? We do it with one car, we leave the other one standard, and we do a test.
Okay.
Before the lads get to work, Mark shows them the simplicity of the 100mm spacers.
Right, so basically, this is what's down there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a complete digital version of your world.
Yep.
So this is my world. So everything that's black is basically staying standard, right? Everything that's pink, we move back 100 mil. Everything that's yellow is what we've got to basically build, manufacture to accommodate the 100 mil change. Everything that's red, like you said earlier, you know, so...
We have to replace or modify?
Probably modify. That's why it's red. So red means modify.
Now that the boys are on the same page, Mark has a plan to extend the car to prove that the concept works. It starts with a pair of spacers.
So if we put a spacer basically here and then follow the same strategy that Lotus used. So we've got two aluminium parts that need to be machined. Jensen, if you can take them. I'll go and get the lower bracket laser cut and bent. And then and if you can carry on downstairs. Can you also get some bolts and nuts and bolts? Some extra?
There is a design benefit for the longer wheelbase, and there is a potential driving benefit too. So the boys agree to modify one chassis 100mm longer.
And to do that, there's a lot of setup work needed. Lotus did that for the last 2 decades with this chassis, and now we're going to completely throw that out the window and start again. So my job's even more important than I thought it was going to be. So lots of days on the track, working with this car to find something that I am really happy with. There you have it, 2 beautiful spacers. These are fundamental in extending our chassis.
This holds that one.
Yeah! Here he is.
Wow, they are chunky, aren't they?
These chunky and heavy spacers are to prove the concept. However, I don't think Colin Chapman would agree, adding so much weight.
That's it. Because straight will be stronger.
Yeah, you think so, yeah. I think it's because of the fuel cap.
Relaunching Radford has very quickly become a bigger task than first thought. So co-founder and Radford lawyer Roger has been doing some recruiting.
We are called Radford in honor of Harold Radford, iconic British brand. But whatever Harold Radford did is in the past. We can use it for inspiration and kind of provide guidance. But what we do from this point forward is going to define our history, our legacy. And it's going to be fraught with risk. I mean, statistically, we're supposed to crater within the first 5 years. So that's the reality is startups fail at an exceptionally high rate.
The beauty of this pressure that we're under is that it's just not the 8 of us under it. We have some of the most brilliant partners that we've contracted with.
For the team at Radford to realise their monumental dream, they will employ the skills and experience of one of the best engineering companies in the industry.
My name's Clive Hawkins. I'm the CEO and founder of Aria Group, and I started this company 20 plus years ago. If it's about moving people, we help every OEM you can think of, from Rolls-Royce to Hyundai. So we can do that from an initial sketch all the way through to running prototypes or some low volume production.
We need a facility to build a proper supercar, and Aria have this, years and years of experience in doing exactly that, plus it's run by a Brit. I think that's really nice. It's nice that we keep a core British heart to the Radford project.
How am I looking?
Now that we've extended the wheelbase, the last piece of the puzzle is these rear strut bars, and I've got a couple of options. I can either manufacture a new strut bar, which comes from this pickup point and runs straight to here, just bespoke and longer, or I can modify the existing strut bar by adding the 100 millimeters here or here. Do you have the data for that bracket, the pickup bracket, the rear strut bar?
Yeah, sure. I can send it over to you.
Yeah, how long is that going to take you to do?
Like 20 minutes. I'll get it over to you now.
20 minutes, all right. Now, these brackets should work really well. You can see how it works, because ultimately it's taken up the shape of the original bracket, and all we've done is pitch that mounting hole 100 millimeters forward, which means we can accommodate the existing strut bar. Now on that side, this is just going to be welded up, it's going to bolt straight in, but on this side, I'm going to have to make a very small modification just around there to clear it. While that's cooling, I can get this old one off.
At this stage, these modifications are temporary.
Now, this smaller bracket here is now going to get replaced by the longer bracket.
What's the next stage for this car, mate?
Well, the thing is at the moment, because it's hypothetical, we need to prove a concept, hand the car over to Jensen, and let him try it out. And ultimately, the decision whether we make it 100 mil or not rests with our driver.
With the ever-present fear of time running against them, the team at Radford lean into the wonderful world of 3D printing in an effort to help speed up both production and design. New Radford hires Tim and Josh take a look at a new wheel design from Mark.
Give me a hand pulling the sheet out. Stabilize it here, should be all right. We just pulled this out of the 3D printer. This is a center spoke design. And so this will help us visualize different wheel designs without having to actually go through the manufacturing process of doing it out of billet aluminum. The way this works is it prints the support material. We need to chip it all off. Once we get that off, it'll look like a wheel center. The other cool thing about doing 3D printed is if a customer said, hey, I want my own custom wheel that nobody else has, it's expensive. And so by being able to 3D print things, we can actually make the tooling out of 3D print, even if the final product isn't 3D print.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
I need your help. I need a schedule today for the rest of the releases. So what's happening is, we're so backed up. I now have customers stacked on top of each other, on top of each other. And if I don't have a schedule, I can't put your stuff on, so.
I know Mark's really excited about tweaking and finalizing little details.
I gotta get a schedule. I've been asking for it forever. I need it today. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. I have to have it today. It sounds like there's some concern about what someone's gonna think, but it's our experience here that you shouldn't be afraid to talk to one person about bad news or what's going on.
The roadblock we have right now is that as Mark designs the A surface, it needs to go to Aria for the B side, which is the side you can't see. And so they're engineering the structural attachment methods. So Mark has to freeze the A surface or the visual side and then send that to Aria, and they need to do their B side work. But until the A side is done, they can't start on the B side.
And it's gonna be a big clusterfuck.
There is a very real pressure at Radford now. Lotus are expecting Radford to unveil their creations to the public in just 2 months at a public event in Orange County and at the exclusive Quell gathering during Monterey Car Week.
My experience with Aria is I've always worked on products with them that have been exceptional, especially from a quality, fit, and finish perspective. They're pretty fantastic. So I think the two cars that we're going to get for both the launch on August 7th and then our event at the Quail are going to be really impressive. They have to be, because it's our first out of the gate, and their name is attached to it. So I think they feel just as much on the hook as anybody else.
So Ed, if you want to see how quickly things change here and how many hats we're wearing, one of the things I also do here is I manage our relationship with the track, since I came from the track. And the one thing that I locked in, the one big date we have there, is Ant and Jensen need to take these chassis out to the track to test them. Jensen get a feel of them, figure out exactly what we need to do with them. Nobody feels a car the way that Jensen Button feels a car. And we have to have the driver's perspective when we're creating this, because Mark can make a hunk of foam beautiful, but for it to really be a Radford Lotus, it has to be that beautiful and handle the way that Jensen Button wants it to handle. You put this in his hands out on a track like the track that we have, and we're gonna learn a lot about this car. The track is completely booked this month, so I worked out one day, June 11th, that we can get them out there. And Ant just sent an email. Oh, and it's not even to just me. He sent an email to all of us, including Lotus, that he now has a conflict on the 11th and wants to move it to the 10th or the 14th. There's a lot that goes into that. Oh, man.
Hey, Tim, how are you?
Hey, man, how's it going? So, our July 11th date that we locked in, Ant just sent out an email to me and to Mike and Pat and Lotus that he now has a conflict on the 11th. Hey, Izzy's calling me, and she's either gonna make this a lot better or a lot worse. So let me give you a call back later.
With limited time and every day planned out before the launch date, small changes in the schedule can have big ramifications.
Yo, Dan.
Hey, Anne, how you doing?
The last sort of 48 hours, we've come up with this, what seems to be a change of a plan around the reveal of the car. If we're going to pull the cover off the car for the public, we either do a limp one at at the showroom with 20 people, or we go and do a proper event. So far, we've only told the public 3 things. Radford's back, we have a racetrack, and we're working with Lotus. So in other words, if we set out today and said, hey, we're not going to reveal a car on the 7th, we're just going to reveal a die-knocked clay, we wouldn't have a problem wrestling with this. So I'm going to propose that we get a clay done at a third party.
But you can't advertise it as the car if it's the clay.
Yeah, but
that's what I mean. You need to advertise it as the design, our design.
Yeah, that's fine. If there's a change in wording to say, come and see the new, the latest design, that's semantics.
Can it not just be like an evening with Radford or something?
Yes! One night only, you're like the Michael Bublé of the car world. Right, so we're going to do a silver die-knocked clay with all the trimmings fitted on it. That is our plan B. That's going to be done at a third party, so it takes away the risk and pressure from here. We're going to sit down with Aria now and understand what the expectation is for the 7th, but ultimately there is going to be a full car reveal, static, not driving, on the lawn at Quail on the 13th. There's this obsession to commit to something now that locks us. Why would we paint ourselves into a corner when we don't need to? Now, one of the best parts of any car build is the day you get to put the engine in. What's really nice is that Lotus have done a ton of the engineering for us, so the bulk of the rolling chassis is already ready. All the hoses are in place, the wiring loom has very luckily pulled through, and actually the cavity for the engine is even bigger. In fact, it's 100 mil bigger than it was before. So in theory, I have a bit more space.
Originally, AMP wanted a V8 as a nod to the US, but after deliberation, landed on a V6 from Toyota, which has been given some extra power at Lotus.
How do you think this is going to handle?
I think it's going to be amazing.
even with a 100mm extension?
I think it's going to be better.
Better?
Yeah, I think so.
Better than Lotus?
We'll see. We'll find out.
It's fighting talk.
To complement the V6 engine choice, both Jensen and Anne have opted for a manual gearbox. This may be America where the lion's share of cars are automatic, but this is a race-inspired Lotus after all.
See, my argument to Jensen and Mark was always, Lotus have spent decades and hundreds of millions of dollars developing the Exige platform. Why would we upset that? You know, Radford has to stand out. It has to be different. So the fact is that Radford's making engineering changes in an attempt to make a very Lotus car very Radford. It's actually going to be different from the Exige because of this extra effort. Is it going to be better, though?
Bottom line is that we've got this really super tight schedule. We've got 6 weeks to build 2 supercars, and right now we're looking at cars that aren't built. So Clive's basically flagging that whilst Aria has a responsibility to do all the bodywork, there's hundreds of other parts that they're not responsible for. 3D bit printed parts, third-party parts, and if they're not here on the shelf, he's saying, well, where are they? Where are these bits? Why are we not accumulating parts on the shelf? And while we're sort of, our stance is that we have a schedule of parts that they're going to be here for the 1st of July for dry fit. He's like, why not get them here earlier? How can we streamline? Where can we cut a corner?
I've been trying to get a hold of people for...
Just email them, say, I have to speak to you every day, 7 a.m. California time.
Yeah.
I don't care whether we're the client.
No,
I need
but
to touch base with you every day because I need to monitor the status of your progress.
I've spoken to them, and the days that I speak to them, when they tell me they're waiting on us, what am I supposed to do?
Just talk to them every day, though. That's the only way we're going to get pressure on them.
Each time I talk to them, they defer it back to we're waiting on Radford.
Yeah, but they're probably just playing tennis, right?
Okay, but Mark, hold on. Let me just say what I'm trying to say. The issue that I'm having is that if I can't get data from them and you can't tell me the timeline from our side, I'm stuck with, I'm the middleman in the middle.
No, but that's your job. That's the definition of your job. You're a project manager, so you're always going to be stuck in the middle.
It sounds to me like we need other 3D printers.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
I'll be on the call tomorrow, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock or 6 o'clock?
6 or 8, you tell me, I'll do 6 o'clock.
6 is good with me, and 6 will be better for them because it'll be earlier, right?
I'll do 6.
Monday. You know, you can't just throw me under the bus like you just did and said, when are you going to give me the timing for every part? You are there to manage the timing of everything.
Right, and I can't do that without a base understanding of where we are as far as timing progress with all the other parts, because
But that's your job. There's only one person that knows the timing of all the parts.
Which is you.
It's not.
No, because I'm asking you how long it takes you to design a part. I've been raising the flag for a while of that, you know, I just don't have enough data that I need to compile in.
What data don't you have? This is what it all comes down to. I feel like you're just trying to get an argument out of me, John.
I'm really not. Ed, you can turn the camera off, and
I'm not going to tell you when you need stuff. I can try and do that, but then I'm taken away from actually designing the car, and now I'm project managing.
To somehow throw it back on project management that I'm not doing my job effectively. I can't do my job effectively without information or data. Mark's skill set and my skill set are very different, and we're just not seeing eye to eye. And I don't know what to do.
It is hard to tell Mark that you need help when Mark works 20 hours a day.
It's incredible that he can do that. Well, I think that's what makes Mark so great, is he has this like super focused passion, and he's brilliant at what he does. And it is hard to benchmark against that when, you know, if I have to tell Mark, like, Mark, I don't have enough time in the day, in his opinion, you do.
Disagreements are always tricky. And the great thing is, I think we're very open. We say it as it is. That's the only way, I think, to get around a disagreement. And that's the thing, we're all going to be so into our roles that sometimes you need to take a step back and listen to people's opinions because they see it in a very different way. So yes, getting your point across early, you don't want to resent each other. Well, this is a journey for all of us that should be exciting. We should be enjoying every moment of this.
at the moment, none of this engineering is permanent. My plan is to just get the car to the track, able to drive. Now, one problem we have is that the brake lines on the Lotus are fixed, and because we've extended the wheelbase, they're now 100 millimetres short. So I've knocked up this little extension. It's going to run from the hose here to the line down the side of the car. At least that way, Jensen can stop. And these front intercoolers, they're wobbling around because they fixed the Lotus bodywork. So what I'm going to do is just cable tie this bit of steel.
And?
Oh, man. Where does it bolt?
We don't have those yet, but about here.
So at the moment, these front intercoolers, they mount to the Exige body. They're a little bit wobbly, and if Jensen hits anything at speed, it's going to fall off. So all I'm going to do is basically cable tie a bit of steel, secure them temporarily, and then after the track day, we'll obviously fit a proper securing system. I broke the desk. Remember, all we're trying to prove is, does a 100mm extension on our car work? Does the feedback inform to the driver, is Jensen going to be happy? Okay, what's next?
As the deadline draws ever closer, tensions are high in the team. Josh tells us how he's feeling since his heated debate with Mark.
I don't know. The day didn't start off well, so yeah. I don't know what to say about it. You know, it was fine over the weekend, and then this morning just stirred right back up. You know, I'm pretty good at letting things go, and you know, I was done with it. It's over with. But then it got brought up out of nowhere this morning, and just like turning the screws again. It's like, hey, I'm over it. Let's just keep doing our jobs.
What was stirred up in the email, if you don't mind sharing it?
Can we cut for a second?
I think everyone in Radford is risking something. If Radford fails, it's more of a embarrassment than anything else, you know, that I've put my name to. Car doesn't drive well. People are going to go, didn't that racing driver, that F1 world champion, wasn't he involved with the driving? And why doesn't it work? Doesn't he have the skills that we thought he had? If the company failed altogether, I don't think it's as bad for me as it might be for some other people within Radford.
I think the biggest risk in taking on this project is my reputation. I think there's so much, you know, behind this, and like I said earlier, there's no excuses. You know, I can't blame anybody. You know, it's all about, you know, how good the car is, and we are 100% responsible for that.
New tyres on, old wheels admittedly, but I've had them rebalanced, redone. Brakes are bled, coolant system's bled, oil in the engine, oil in the gearbox. I've tied back everything I can, because tomorrow is only about testing the 100mm extension. Fitted the Lotus cluster, ignition, and then this tiny little panel here which has the start button on it. That actually sounds pretty good. Yeah, it's going through the revs nicely. That sounds all right, doesn't it? The temperature's rising. It's holding idle quite nicely. The revs are pretty responsive. But bear in mind, we've had to modify the gear linkage.
And it stops. First, second, third, fourth,
Experienced than
fifth,
Nigel,
sixth.
but he's younger and he's actually showing tremendous flair.
Firstly, I hope Jensen recognises that tomorrow's test day is merely a test day. This is, you know, I've jimmy-rigged the radiators, I've cable-tied loose stuff down. It's just about understanding the wheelbase change. But yeah, Joe, I think he's going to enjoy it.
Throughout my career, my strength has been setting up a race car. You know, my strengths as a driver have never been getting anything and I'm quick in anything. I need to set something up that suits me. I need to build a good team of people around me to make me feel confident and comfortable within a car.
Oh, yeah!
There she is.
This is it. Look, there's your extension.
Yep. You can see the back set of the engine, which is going to change the balance quite a lot, I think, of the car.
That's going to change.
Thank you for sticking on some new tyres.
It stop steers starts. Extended the brakes. They've been rebled, but they've not been run in yet. We've also up... Why is mine?
It just feels nice.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. The position feels nice.
I know, but that's something Lotus really captured well.
Yeah, they did. Driver position in the car is very important. That interaction with the machine, the mechanical machine, having a manual gearbox.
I know, right?
You just lose that interaction when you don't have to change gear. But I love that feeling of pulling away and you're completely in control of the car. You're not just pushing the right pedal down and going. So I like that. The only thing I would say is that we should weigh it because the original Exige is just over 1,000 kilograms.
Wait
this
there.
must be well under 1,000 kilograms.
Have you got scales here? Yes, sir. Can we weigh this?
Spot on.
How heavy is an Exige?
1,045 kilograms.
1,000? I mean, that's light.
That's super light. The aim, I think, is to be lighter than Exige, even though we're a slightly longer car. And obviously, we're going to be having a lot more horsepower.
One thing Chapman was fascinated with was weight. He coined the expression add lightness and ensured every single component that went on a Lotus was the lightest it could possibly be.
And what is it wet, the Exige?
1,100 kilograms. Yeah.
We want that to be 999.9, right? Okay.
Or lower.
Or lower, yeah.
Yeah,
That minus that will give us our benchmark weight for the whatever. Everything else we add has to fall into that box.
Yeah. So I think 899 kilos.
898.
Correct.
941 kilos.
So we're going to have almost 200 kilos to play with.
So
That
what
can
you're
happen.
saying is there is actually a chance
Yes.
that we might be able to be the
Yes.
only manufacturer on the planet.
Yes. Let's go make sure it dries well first.
It doesn't work.
How mad does this feel?
How's it feel?
Everything feels okay.
Do you want to just test the steering a bit?
The important thing is when you do an install just to make sure everything's working.
Whoa, it's got get up and go. Oh my gosh, this is way better than I thought. No, but for real. We are actually driving the first ever Radford. And it doesn't look like a Radford. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's got get up and go, isn't it? Radford's alive! Oh my God, oh my God. For the first time in Radford history, we've actually turned a wheel in anger.
I know you didn't go around the track full pelt yet, and that's going to come.
Yeah, that's why I want to get out.
First of all, can I just say, nice touch. We got a Radford.
Either that or we lost a dog. Yeah. We lost a dog called Radford.
Everything's working fine, brakes are working. It's weird because everything rattles. Because normally everything's connected to something, whereas a lot of it's not right now. There's nothing that's going to change the balance of the car, but it's quite noisy.
Jensen was obviously finding his way a bit. Steering is so responsive, which is really what, why Lotus is the perfect partner, because Lotus creates
race cars for the road. It feels like a race car.
It's torsionally very stiff.
Yeah.
I mean, you feel the bumps on the circuit. Bumps on a road are bigger than on a circuit, normally. And you can feel the rear sort of hopping when you're laterally loaded. And that's why we've also lengthened it, to calm that down, because normally if you hit one of those bumps with a very stiff, short car, it reacts and it snaps. So it's a little bit more, slightly easier to drive. We'll see when we actually push it. But you're going to jump out now, right?
Yeah, the pushing bit, I'm just going to go and use the little boys' room.
Okay. Time to get a feel for it. It's nice doing on a circuit, our own circuit, away from other people, away from other cars. This is a key day for us to really understand what we want from this car. We understand how we want it to look. That's what coach building's all about, right? It's about the feel, it's about the experience. So at the moment we haven't taken over sort of 70 miles an hour. Till now, 91. But obviously this car normally would have 220 to 250 kilograms of downforce. Today, it doesn't have that. It is very light though.
The day is going well for Jensen, who is the drive part of Radford, and he joins a hallowed list of F1 drivers who've helped develop road-going cars.
And Senna did it with the Acura NSX, the Honda NSX. The NSX was an epic car because of a Formula One world champion's influence. I feel like this is the moment in Radford's path, in the journey of everything that we're doing to engineer these cars. This is the moment where we get to pull out that kind of ace in the pack.
I've never worked on a road car, and there's definitely more pressure as a driver working on developing a road car. You're developing it for all of the customers that are going to put their name on buying this car. So it's definitely not easy, but that's my aim, and I won't be happy if I'm not able to achieve that.
Oh, and he keeps it on the track.
Pop into the pits now. First proper run done. It's, I must admit, it's the earliest I've ever been in a car, running a car from new. Never done that with a road car ever before in my life. I've done it with many race cars, but no road cars.
I already know that you're smiling underneath that helmet. I already know that's the case. Oh my God, I can feel the heat. Most of that's off you.
For me, driving this and feeling the changes that we've made already, it gets you pretty emotional, because that was my whole life was developing cars and making them feel better, and knowing that I could go out and beat the other guys because I'd made a better car. And we've made some really good steps with this car. The lengthening is definitely a positive with what we want to achieve with this car. But there is one area that, I think that we can still improve, and you, Mark, and Roger, I'm sure aren't going to like it. I think we should widen the front track.
What do you mean?
I think that we've improved the car a lot in the high-speed stuff. I think we can still go one step further in the low-speed corners. I think widening the front track is going to help that initial turn-in.
So what about we just put offset wheels on?
It upsets the geometry of the car. You can't do that. We don't want to mess with it that much, and I think the geometry is right. I just think that we need that little bit more bite in the low-speed corners. The high-speed corners, the balance is great, but I think we really do need that.
So you want to swap wishbones out? The longer ones?
Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, it stands to reason. If you make it longer, we have to make it wider.
And all of this helps the center of gravity?
So positives from today are the long wheelbase works, the car's set up perfectly, we haven't overheated, it steers, stops, drives beautifully like an Exige, but longer. The negatives are that you've thrown a curveball of longer wishbones to create wider track front and rear. Or
There's one other thing.
the peel.
We need a center lock nut.
On the wheels?
Yes. How sexy is that going to look? And add lightness.
It's going to be expensive.
Yeah. It's not going to be a cheap car, but we want to do it right.
No one's going to be rushing to the store to...
If you see a car with a center lock on it, it's a wow moment.
By changing the hub of the upright, the center lock, you're also changing the wheel.
We're not just
And the wishbone.
we're not just changing a wheel. There probably isn't a wheel that we want, so it's going to be unique.
No, Mark's going to be the problem here.
Yeah, but it's going to be unique to this car if it's a center lock.
Why don't we
should
do
try
the
this
track
route
and
first.
leave the center locks out? Let's do the track because ultimately we need to...
That doesn't work. I want it on the car from Monterey.
What did the real car have?
It was a race car. It had center locks.
That was my argument. All right, well, let's get out.
You've got to get a flight home.
Yes, I'm heading home. Are you heading back?
I might just go back out and do a couple more laps.
Yeah?
Just a couple.
Drive safely.
To illustrate the myriad of options offered by coach building, Radford are going to produce two different prototypes. One, a road-going sports car, and the other, a more track-orientated beast. Ant's taking the lead on the more sedate of the two and has chosen to stick with the gold leaf livery. Jensen, not surprisingly, is taking ownership of the racier version, and he's going to complement its high performance with a truly iconic Lotus livery. JPS. Radford has been successful in securing ownership of the JPS brand. Now they have the added pressure of being the custodians of arguably the most legendary Formula One livery of all time.
Most OEMs use this clay. So if you imagine every single new car on the road today has gone from the designer's head onto a computer screen, from the computer screen into a life-size clay model, so that teams and teams of people can walk around it, give it to focus groups, forums, before they commit to pressing go. Because the moment they press go on a production car, they're committing to millions and millions of dollars. Now, these are the blocks of foam that we're going to be using. They come in these manageable bite-sized chunks, but the team here have already glued it together in the rough shape of my car. In fact, Scott, if you go upside down, you'll see that this is the car. The bonnet section, the wheel section, the cockpit, the rear wheel, and the end. 3-box saloon. Look, somewhere inside that chunk of foam is this car. And hopefully, if Mark's done it right, we're going to have the world's new Lotus. The foam is undercut, and the mill has been working in our absence. And I've called Jensen, I've called Mark, I've told them to meet me here, and the three of us are going to see the car for the first time together ever. You must be more excited than I am.
Mate, this is the best bit.
Is it the best bit?
Seeing it for the first time, yeah.
Oh,
wow.
Can't touch
Wow.
it.
A little bit speechless.
Are you?
It's lovely working on something, working with you guys on this fantastic project, but you never really know if it's going to happen or not until you see it.
Well, the thing is, this is only one step, because at the moment, this is an undercut, so the foam is 25 millimeters undersize. So we need to add more than 25 millimeters worth of clay. Then it will go back in the mill for a more fine pass, and there is only one way to add clay. You're going to need gloves.
Really?
Yeah. Just start at the front and fill it, buddy.
Not so many people do this anymore.
I
This is
reckon
what's so important.
JB's going to argue that this isn't the best part of building a car. The driving bit might be.
It doesn't really matter if I think it looks like a Lotus. You know, I think it looks beautiful, and I think it looks like a Lotus, but the most important thing is that Lotus thinks it looks like a Lotus.
Oh, my God.
And what happens if they don't? Well, it's game over. We can just slice it up and Look lovely in the living room, actually, wouldn't it?
The problem is this is possibly the first time in Jensen's history he's actually done some hard work for a living.
No, that's not true. The Canadian Grand Prix 2011, 4-hour race. I mean, there you go. I'll see you later, boys, yeah? I've got something really important to do. But thank you. It's been lovely. I believe in you guys.
With the foam underbelly taking up the bulk of the volume, the clay is applied, then placed back in the mill for another pass.
So yeah, the clay model's really a really important part of the process, you know? It's like a big safety blanket, right? You know, when you look at something full size, it gives you the confidence to say, okay, let's pull the trigger then. Basically, from the moment that we sign off on the clay model, so that's my A-surface data, I send each part separately to ARIA. They then take that data and they create a foam model, and then they have the resin that they basically then do another undercut, which is just harder and denser. And then finally put on the brown paste. It's like a paste resin, almost like chocolate toothpaste. After that, then it goes into the final mill. Now, the goal of the final mill is to literally replicate the exact A-surface data that I've got. So this is basically the great craftsmen at ARIA just working their magic. These guys are just going to take that master model, and when they create the tool, they put in all these pieces of wood and flexible plastic to work out how to split up the mold so it can pop off the master and can be re-put back together. They lay up these big grey wet sheets that are actually fiberglass. Once all that fiberglass is set and gone hard, we've essentially got this master, you know, with all this fiberglass on top. And then we take the fiberglass off, then we've got to polish that perfectly.
What we have here is we have our master mould for the front nose of the Lotus. It's been taken off the buck, but of course it doesn't come off the buck perfectly, so it actually needs tons and tons of work. So what's happened is this has been flat sanded so it's nice and smooth, and now we're polishing it, because this is the surface our carbon panels are going to be made in. Any imperfection in this surface is going to translate into that panel. And because it's likely that we're going to use exposed carbon, the better this is, the better the panel is. So what I'm doing now is applying some normal car body polish, using a mop with a nice soft woolen head, and then we're going to spend hours and hours and hours preparing each mould. The better this surface is, the better the panel will be. This is where that investment in time really pays dividends. Now, this panel's actually the roof inner mould. So what's happened is it's had that single layer of carbon put on. It's actually going to have 3 layers. Obviously, the point of carbon is it's made up of a weave. And the direction of that weave is critical. So if you imagine a $1 million supercar made out of exposed carbon, if the weave is mismatched, or the door doesn't line up with the wing, it doesn't line up with the bonnet, it's just a random fitted panel. It doesn't say $1 million supercar. And the only way a vacuum bagging system works is if it's absolutely airtight. So you're relying on the bag itself, this clear piece here, to trap the air within the mould. That way, when you use an airline to suck it out, the bag itself pushes against the inner panel, forces away all the creases or imperfections or bubbles. They're going to be wheeled into an oven so that they can cure properly. Now, the oven's quite interesting. It gets up to 190 degrees Fahrenheit, but it takes about 45 minutes to get to that point, and then it sits at that temperature for about 7-8 hours. It'll then cool down naturally. So if I get these in tonight, tomorrow morning, we're going to be able to reveal a pair of door outer skins. Come on, or you're going to get burnt. Yeah, we haven't got any time to waste. The only way that we're going to make this deadline is to have multiple processes going on at the same time. If we don't do that, we're just not going to make it. So if you look here, at the nose cone of the Lotus, that's currently being prepped. We're going to bolt them all together. I'm going to start laying up a carbon nose in that. The side portion of the car here, we haven't even made the tool for this yet. That's in the midst of being making. The other side as well, and then we had some drama this weekend with Mark. For whatever reason, he decided to change the rear end of the car again. So we quickly ran this through the mill last night, created this rough mill surface, which creates a key on the surface that we can put the chocolate back on. Then we have to wait another 24 hours for it to be hard enough to go back in the mill to make Mark's changes. Yeah, you've got the face that, yeah, I know. Mark can't go on making change after change after change. And I know it's tough being a creative designer to walk away, but he's just gonna have to walk away. Now, when I think of Colin Chapman, I think of his famous phrase, add lightness. And that was something that he was absolutely obsessed with. He was obsessed with saving every single gram. Because what Colin realized is that to make a car go faster, it had to be lighter. And when you consider, this was at a time when all of his competitors were adding more power. They were actually adding more weight to make cars go faster when he was taking weight away. And his way was way more successful.
Lotus have always built cars using plastic bodies. We feel plastic bodies are the bodies of the future. It's only a matter of time before the vast majority of cars are built out of plastic rather than steel.
The fact that every single Lotus has been composite, effectively made of fiberglass, meant that it's part of Lotus DNA. So we at Radford, we have a responsibility to do exactly the same thing. The great thing about composites is they don't rust. So you get a lot of Lotus, where the chassis is in bad shape, but the body will last forever. This is the weave that I'm going to be using. This is actually called pre-preg carbon. It's pre-pregnated with the catalyst and the resin inside the weave. And one of the problems we have is the pre-preg carbon comes on a roll, and that roll is around 50 inches. And of course, the nose cone of our car is bigger than 50 inches, which means I can't make it in one piece. So I'm going to have a join line. It makes sense to have the join line right down the center of the nose. It has this green film on one side to protect it, and then a brown paper on the underside. Now this is where the accuracy is all important. I'm just going to put some gloves on because I need to protect the carbon fibre. Last thing I want is any contaminants from my fingernails. Adding a little bit of heat into the weave really manipulates the material, and then gently it starts to follow the contours of the mold. And consider as well, for a car, this is just one mold.
And that one mold will go on to make 50 panels for future cars.
Now this is where that 7 hours in the oven comes into play. It takes 7 hours to cook at 190 degrees Fahrenheit. What that does to the pre-preg carbon is it melts the catalyst and the resin within the carbon. And then the resin melting falls between the weave. Let that cool down, and it hardens. Now all I've got to do is remove the vacuum bag and hopefully reveal a perfect nose cone. Okay. The front end, the clamshell on the front, is probably the most important single panel, because it represents and sets the tone for the entire brand going forward. Have Radford successfully completed the task we set out to do? Have Radford built a Lotus? The fact is, a Radford Lotus is kind of cool, but it needs to be Lotus. Can we have a very short conversation about exposed carbon?
No.
Come on. If this was prepped and top-coated, would this be acceptable as an exposed carbon panel?
No. Because all the weave just goes in one direction across the car. So where we have this joint line down the middle, we want the two weaves to come in together. So everything sprays out from the middle. Yeah, I think the appeal of this project in general is just, it's a small team, but it's an amazing team. If you look at all the different folks that are involved in this project, from Mark on design, Ant with his knowledge, Jensen driving, all the team we've got, what we can do at ARIA, Lotus as a partner for performance. I mean, it's an amazing team, and it's importantly a small team. And that's what really attracted us to building this project. Small teams can do amazing things. We have this tight deadline to do 2 cars. We're all working extremely hard, and now Ant's come in and asked for exposed carbon, and I told him to fuck off.
Ant can't wait any longer to see the new bonnet sitting on the car.
Hey, look at that.
It's going to have to sit there because it's all a bit out.
Yeah, it's not secure, but yeah, gives us an idea.
That's it.
Okay, it's resting on at the moment. Right, I will, I'll see you later on. We've had to make some tough decisions to try and make the deadline for when we reveal the car at Monterey. Now, originally, we weren't going to make the rear clam with the ducktail spoilers on. We were just going to do the kind of the standard road-going version. And then last minute, in our last team meeting, we changed it to make sure that we do the ducktail for a number of reasons. Firstly, the car that we want to reveal for the first time is going to have a ducktail, so it looks like the original Type 62 from '69. Plus, if you think about it from an engineering perspective, we can machine this master, prep it, polish it, take a mold off it. Then the master can go again, machine the ducktails off, then do a second mold for the one without the spoilers. Actually, it turns out that this way is probably the most productive. This way gives us the least amount of steps to get the same outcome, and it helps us make the deadline.
With the Aria team at full stretch on the A surface, the Radford bit, attention is returned back to the B surface, the Lotus bit.
Now, the point of the track day was to prove a concept. Does the 100mm extension work? And actually, it does. Now, this bracket here, this was temporary made, and the point of it was to prove about holding that rear torsional strut bar. And when you consider the torsional resistance runs through that plane, I could probably do away with this section here, tidy this bit up, effectively re-engineer this, or more importantly, put it on a diet. Now, my plan is actually, I'm just going to put the measurements on here, take a photograph of it, send it back to Mark. Mark already has this dimension worked out in a rough form. Mark can then put my measurements in, slim it down. I put a few little flash holes in there, then we'll double check the engineering works, make sure it's safe. We need to think like Colin Chapman. Colin Chapman could save an ounce. He would. So it's going to need to be, I mean, I can do it. I can cut and make a raise up and then weld in a new part. Motherfucker.
What?
On maximum bump, the drive shaft hits the subframe.
Yeah, someone was telling me about that.
What do you mean, yeah? Why didn't you tell me?
I don't know. Yeah, me and Dan were talking about it the other day.
When?
Yesterday.
You have to tell me straight away.
Another engineering change from Jensen's test drive was to lower the ride height of the car by 40mm. Only that message never made its way to Anne.
Oh.
The team now stripped the car down after the test drive. Some of the parts now need to be replaced.
Dude, let's freaking get this engine out then. What is it holding on to? Wait a second.
Huh.
It's two.
Really? Oh.
Ah. I say we forget one bolt. Wow, it's far quicker taking an engine out than it is putting an engine in. Subframe off moment. Let's cherry pick the bits that we're likely to paint and make sure they're fully stripped. Like there's some of this has rivets in. Now I'm okay with this. Like leave that in, we can powder coat that, and they'll just have to bung the threads.
Sure.
And then really I need that on a bench, upside down, because I'm gonna have to weld it.
Okay.
Our problem is this area here is where the drive shaft goes. When we lower the car and make a bigger drive shaft, it's going to bang here. So I'm going to cut a square section out of here to raise that gap by probably 3/4 of an inch, drop a new piece of steel in, weld it all in so it's structurally sound, then lose the wishbone. Then we'll have to shot blast it, powder coat it in gold.
VP of Paint and Design Fairuz chats with Michael from Aria about her paint designs for both the Gold Leaf and JPS cars.
Michael, all right, I created a composition for the exteriors and interiors of the two cars that we're going to be taking to Monterey.
Okay.
This is Jensen's composition. It's the John Player Special livery race car. And then this one is Anne's composition. And this is the Gold Leaf Special livery. So you've done sort of this sort of really black, liquidy, dimensional paint before?
Yeah, it adds depth to the chrome, gives it a nice, like, mirrored, deep finish.
Yeah.
Still being somewhat reflective.
What's in a candy?
It's essentially a transparent tinted color that if you didn't put it over a solid, you'd be able to see right through it.
So what my vision is for this John Player car for Jensen is that the base color will be a gold without the metallic flake. And above that, we would layer, say, 6 or 7 coats of a black candy on top.
Okay.
So that when you look at it, it looks like a black gold.
Ant's been playing around with the lower wishbone trying to find a solution to the drive shaft problem.
Right, it gets a bit tricky here because there's that internal bracket. I'm gonna have to remove this in sections.
This needs to be structured. It supports the upper wishbone. Now, I could just put one plate from under here, like so. Just terminate it here so I could weld down there, weld in there, and then a second plate here. Again, weld down there and here, and it would mean I would be able to weld there without getting inside. Well, that is one side done. You can see now there's the cavity, the space for the drive shaft to fall into.
So in your opinion, powder coating, does it weigh more than liquid paint?
It's gonna be a little bit heavier, yes.
So with the traffic red, you think I can get 1 mil?
I think so.
When you start saying, well, it's just 2 pounds, and then you start saying that on the foam, and then you start saying that on the leather, and you say that on brackets, and then that's just me. And then Tim says it, and then Josh says it, and then Ant says it. And then before you know it, 10 people are saying it on, say, 20 parts. It adds up.
So what was the last time you were physically here? What did you see?
The tooling, to be fair, weren't we? We were
That's right, yeah. You were
sanding down.
That was like months ago.
It does.
That was like 8 days ago.
Yeah. I told you they'd look great.
Really?
What? They look amazing.
So based on the track drive that you did last week on a naked chassis, how's adding the rear clam going to help?
This will give you more downforce in high-speed corners. The window will be this from here, right?
That's the winner.
Yeah,
So
from here.
when it's trimmed, there'll be a tiny little recess edge.
Yeah.
Remember, this is going to hinge and sit up on the car. Feel the weight of that.
Hello.
1.4, right?
Your shoes weigh more than our door. You wearing those shoes in the car takes away from all of the positives that we're doing. So we're after going to get you some plimp soles.
Or I'll just drive the car in Speedos.
Yes. I mean, there's...
And I'll shave all my hair. Right, we need to go put a chassis together.
I spoke with Brittany, his wife, and she was very open. She was explaining that Jensen retired. She could see that he was looking for something. He probably didn't even know what it was, but he was certainly looking for something. So when Jensen entered this project, he jumped with both feet.
I mean, this is the dream. This is what I've been looking for. This is that one thing that I feel that is my future.
That dream to build the ultimate car was as true in the 1960s as it is now. Lotus was the embodiment of one genius's dreams. Colin Chapman, a patriotic, original thinker with a degree in civil engineering and a can-do attitude that spawned innovation after innovation. A great foundation for superstardom in his passion, motorsport. He was a great communicator and marketer who became almost as much of a celebrity as the drivers who drove his cars. The rise of Lotus from home-built racing car to F1 world champions was meteoric, and racing was always central to the Lotus plan.
We basically go racing because I like it. I like going racing. I've always been involved in racing. I like the competitiveness of it. I like the comradeship of it. And I also like the technical fallout that comes from it. We do learn a tremendous amount from racing. Our engineers in the in the car company can take direct read-offs from our racing cars to our production cars in terms of suspension, handling, and safety. We stress everything to the limit on our race cars. We find out just what a part will do and how much it will stand, and then we then know what sort of safety limit we can incorporate in our production cars.
The road cars paid for the racing and reflected Chapman's unique thought processes.
Why don't we try something more on the style of a shooting brake, but not really a shooting brake? In other words, we'll go for a rear end which gives us more head clearance. It'll give us a nice side window visibility. It'll give us a reasonable boot capacity, and then we can get our discrete luggage compartment with a rear window in the back there.
Chapman's genius led him to Bond glamour and to make Britain's first supercar. Can Radford live up to this legacy?
You know, Aria have got this deadline where they have to assemble the body, and they can only assemble a body onto a finished chassis. And if we haven't got the chassis finished, they can't start. So by getting this finished, rolling and on its wheels, we could probably just take it out the way, give them the space to set the jig up, and then put it back on. Okay. We're gonna have to go a little bit up. One more, Rose. One more. Lower wishbone is there and there. Chuck that in there. Then I need the cam bolt. Perfecto. All right, wait there, wind it through.
Some big ass bolts, aren't they? Jesus. Beautiful.
Right, put that top one in.
Is it part of the course that most F1 drivers do know their way around the car?
Some of them do. Some of them have, you know, like Alex Wirtz, who used to be in F1, he was also had an engineering degree. A lot of the guys don't now because they're so young when they get into the sport. They never really had that opportunity. And some guys have no idea. I mean, they know how a car feels, but they don't know what to do with a car in terms of setup work and what have you to make it feel better.
So Jensen made sure that throughout his career, he had a relationship with his car. He spoke to the mechanics. He understood with the engineers. He made the car tailor-made for him. So inadvertently, Jensen as an F1 driver was a coach builder.
Right, anyway, do you need some help?
His car was perfect for him, might not have been perfect for his teammate or another competitor. It was Jensen's car, and Jensen's car on the day is the reason he became world champion. And for Radford, that is absolutely invaluable.
That's a pretty good time to stop for some grub.
I think so, and a cup of tea would be nice.
The breakneck speed of the builds has meant certain standards have slipped in the workplace.
It's just not a professional work environment. We've got parts unlabeled all over the place and bolts, junk, and we don't have enough tables, and it's just, we're a startup and we don't even have enough, you know, boxes to put away parts. We need more people because as many hours as I can cram into a day, there's still stuff that are, you know, slipping through the cracks.
And we have 5 things that have to be done today, and they're not going to be able to because we're going to need to clean. We're going to need to put the car together.
All right, so all this stuff, get it cleaned up, or we're moving the whole build to the other room, and you're not filming anything. Zero. So all this stuff, get it cleaned up. If it's not for the build, get it out of this room. This is our scale. This is not a welding fixture. This is not a place for you guys to start working on. Okay? Get it sorted, where the car's out, and you aren't filming anything. Done. I'm not going to have my guys working this down. Yeah. Cool. We clear?
Dry fit day is finally here. The Aria techs prep the workspace carefully before laying down the jigs that the car will sit on. Project manager JD from Aria keeps a watchful eye.
So we're kind of officially starting dry fit today. First step is getting a fixture plate on there. The fixture plate will be used primarily for the production of these. Right now we're building the first 2, obviously for Pebble and for Quail, and so they're gonna get treated a little bit different because that Quail is not that far down the road. But we also will learn a lot from these first 2 cars, and we'll be able to implement those processes in the rest of the 60. The other 60 will be built all on this, and we'll have a lot more fixture and jigs in there. Next, we'll put the car on top. and kind of get it set up there and secured. And then we'll start slowly starting putting panels on it. So the car won't come off until it's fully bodied, unless something goes wrong. And then we'll blow it apart to get it surface painted and then go back together and shows up at Quell.
They have till Monday to button anything up that they can button up from a mechanical standpoint, and then we're taking the car. I've been hearing the mechanics supposed to be coming in for the last 2 weeks, and they show up for like an hour and leave, so I'm over it.
What should be the case on the car? I mean, you've asked for, obviously, the area to be cleaned for weeks.
Yep.
Your guys were cleaning it this morning.
Yep.
What's your main gripe with the car? Is it not running? Is there fluids in it that shouldn't be in it? What's the main issue for your car?
We give them kind of a list of stuff that needs to happen, and then we come in and none of it's been done. I mean, we can't have oil and fluids leaking all over the floor when this thing goes to paint, like primer and stuff like that. So if they're not going to do it, I'd rather know they're not going to do it so we can step in and do it rather than count on them and be disappointed on a regular basis. So I'm kind of over being disappointed, so we're going to take our own destiny in our own hands and just get it done. Ideally, I need all of this stuff mechanically buttoned up by Monday morning. We can give you that time now. Look at the schedule. You're not going to have time later to do this. We're going to have to kind of work together in tandem on this to get this done. So you guys can come in this weekend and knock out the engine and have everything done. That would be ideal because you're not going to see this car until the end of the month.
Okay. James, can I ask you a quick question, mate?
Sure.
How much of this moving the schedule around affects Faye-Ruse and her dreams to have
The more we move it to the left, the more time that she has for the paint. Right now, my biggest concern is there's no dry time baked into the schedule, and so I'm concerned about the paint shrinking. Go.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Thanks.
When Faye-Ruse arrives, Michael Famaria is tasked with breaking the bad news to her.
Forget it. It's all black candy. That's your call out.
Where does it break?
It breaks nowhere. It's John Player.
You said that it broke. It breaks everywhere.
That's the
it breaks
gold leaf.
every jam.
As Faye-Ruse comes to terms with the fact that Aria doesn't have the time to give her the black candy paint job, she tries to get Josh and Tim on her side to help push Aria to find the time to paint the car.
Just remember, form is one thing, right? You fall in love with the silhouette, the proportion, the stance. The second thing that pulls you in is the color.
Yeah. So for you to get your candy, we need to get the entire car.
They need to
dry
paint the
fit.
body at one time. We just have to find a way to communicate it without me or us being penalized our first time out at Quell. It's not going to happen.
See, this is where all that weeks and weeks of work, prepping and planning has come into force because the accuracy of that design is going to be tested by physically putting it on the car. The Lotus B-surface data was a starting point. Mark's design is about the aesthetics, but of course it has to work from a beautiful perspective and an engineering perspective. Mark's beauty has to have engineering capacity that fits perfectly with that B-surface data from Lotus. And this, the way the panel goes down the side of the chassis, comes in with an endpoint, drills into the chassis here. This piece here is independently 3D printed. It's printed with the resin holes in it, so that when the rope is laid into the roof inner panel, it's then all resined, put in here with bonding, bonded into the piece. It's pleasing, right? Oh wait, door's going on. The door's going on. The thing is, I'm a big fan of pausing to celebrate moments, but this is just a loose kind of mock-up. It still has to be finalized, secured, pinned, sealed. Then of course it needs to be painted and trimmed and running.
The following morning, a visitor arrives eager to see the car with his own eyes.
Hey, man. How you doing, JB?
Good, and you?
Yeah, good to see you.
Buddy. How's
What's going on? Good. Oh, man, you missed it yesterday. I saw you talking to Mark, but Yeah, the whole thing was together.
Gutting.
Yeah.
It's lovely seeing it on the phone, but in
Yeah.
reality, it's a very different thing. And I'm sure I would have got a little bit choked up yesterday. If I
Oh,
was
yeah.
here.
It was cool. Right now, they're going to be bonding the firewall and the body side, so those all get bonded to the frame. But yeah, they're going to do that, and then...
Sorry, I can't stop smiling. I know you're talking.
I know,
about-
it's
Just
exciting.
Seeing the roof line, it reminds me of, well, I raced at Le Mans in 2018, and
Yeah.
it looks like a prototype.
Yeah.
The roof is obviously very low, and obviously it's curved a lot. A lot of road cars, after the windscreen, it's quite a flat roof line,
Yeah.
really. Whereas
Yeah.
this is dropping down a lot to the windscreen.
It is.
Which is very cool. It looks wicked.
So I know Mark put in CAD models of people sitting in the car to look at the kinematics of, getting in and out and visualization, but actually nobody's even sat in the car yet with this body on.
We start with typically a 95th percentile American, and they're packaged in the, so we understand where the feet are, where the H point is, which is basically your hip point, and your vision angles. And this is really important for somebody like Jensen as well, because this is, and it's the cabin, right? It's where he sits and feels. We're going to really explore trying to create the perfect cockpit for Jensen, basically.
Easy to get in.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, it's low.
Yeah.
But
is it doable? I mean,
it's 100% amazing. Concerns have definitely gone, and not just concerns have dissipated. It's more the smile on my face. I cannot get rid of this smile on my face because it's just such a cool environment. Here he is. He's the man of the hour.
Hey. What do you think?
It's racy, and I can't stop smiling being in here. It feels like I just want to take it out now. Easy, look at that.
So where's that block?
This is like kind of the rear of the car. You know that light that kind of like is pill-shaped? So we've got that going on.
Oh my God, the dials.
Yeah, we've got to redesign all the switches and knobs here.
The issue is...
It's too big.
Is it too big?
No, it is too big. It is too big. But also, it's nice to be... Oh, hello.
I love that. And I definitely hate the stitch.
That looks like it should be on a go-kart.
Ant is going to wet himself when he sees that.
He is.
He does that every day.
Now that he's got a physical canvas to experiment on, Mark tries some ideas out.
I'm just putting some tape lines on the car of like where the livery might go, for the JPS, so like the gold stripes. So I've got some ideas, but I've not seen it actually on the car yet. So,
In an effort to continue shedding weight, Ant meets an old friend to chat about batteries.
Give me the pros and cons.
Yeah, so I brought both of these. This is like what you would typically find this size battery in a small sports car. Porsche 911. That's kind of what comes factory. This is the factory size for a Honda Civic, so a much smaller car. In addition to that, we use our spiral cell technology, which makes it even lighter. If you notice these little voids in here, because there's little cylindrical cells in there.
So what's the negatives for this? Because this
The
obviously
negatives
saves weight
is
straight away.
it doesn't have the capacity, right?
Okay,
So-
but for a car of our ilk, this isn't a daily driver.
Right. So this will be fine. What the compromise then again is you still have an ECU. You still have things that are drawing power, right? So you're drawing from that electrical fuel tank. In order to make up for that, you'll probably put a battery maintainer on it.
Right.
We make a great maintainer that you plug in and
this
keep
is
the
called the
voltage
upsell.
up.
So
This is the
is
upsell.
that the battery maintainer? Is that normal for somebody who's going to have this car?
Because our customers are mostly going to be multiple car collectors.
Yeah.
They're going to have a facility they can park it in.
Right.
They're going to be more than willing to park their car away and plug it in if they're leaving it for any length of time. This is sufficient for the car. It's going to save a ton of weight, but we are going to need to give our customers a trickle charge.
I would.
I know you would because you're selling them.
Absolutely. Great.
Thank you for coming by.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
for
you for
having me.
saving £23.
Right? We need it.
Big.
Yeah, we all need it.
We're on the Radford diet right now.
Cool.
Meanwhile, in the servicing shop, the Aria techs painstakingly prepare the gold leaf car for paint.
Although we're tight on time, this is the part of the build that we can't rush. We have a car, it exists, it's here, we have a real machine, but we're now going to reveal that machine to the world for the very first time, and we're going to be measured on the detail, the quality, the precision. And that's what these guys are doing. They're prepping the car for hours and hours
before it goes to paint. I reckon it's going to be in here for 5, 6, 7 days.
So we just got another couple big boxes from Stratasys of 3D printed parts, and so just trying to figure out what they are, where they go, and inventory them so we can track making sure they didn't get lost in transit somewhere.
Do you know how many parts are being printed?
Yeah, so printed there's, at the moment, 114, but that number gets bigger every day. So every day as parts get revised, they realize, oh, actually we need an additional bracket on the backside. So as of today, we're at 114 parts. There's 702 parts currently just in our interior. And that's not including all the Lotus parts that are already carryover. So there's easily north of 1,000 individual pieces. So typically, in a production car, you're not gonna have 3D printed parts. 3D printing is great for prototyping, but it's also expensive. So what we're doing is, instead of investing tens of thousands of dollars in tooling to make a part like this, we haven't validated to make sure that this works. So this here is a door sill. We're running out of time quickly on, having 2 car sets worth of panels made. So earlier when I told you there were 702 parts, that's per vehicle. So as much as we can track all the interior parts and make sure that they arrive and they're correct and they look good, if there's no glass to tint the windows or black them out or leave them clear, if there is no glass, we're not showing any of this. So glass is due to arrive Monday. So we'll see. We'll open that box, and I really hope everything's okay with that, because that's mission critical right now.
Mark, which spun you?
Well, this was my retirement project. I was going to make some freaking cool minis just in my garage, and then brand them as Radford and happily live ever after,
It was all going as planned, and then Mr. Bloody Anstead comes to the
Turned your life upside down.
forefront, yeah.
The initial concern for me was like the vision, right? All of a sudden the vision's much more broad. I was quite focused. I just wanted to build myself the coolest Mini on the planet, the fastest, the lightest, the best quality. And I felt like it would be good enough to embrace the name Radford. But yeah, so it was like, oh wait, we're not gonna do that right now. We'll do it, but we're gonna do the Lotus first. So somewhere down the pipeline, I'll get to live my retirement dream at least.
Fayrouz and Mark get busy measuring the millimeters between each panel to ensure the gaps are consistent.
4.5, and that's 5.
And currently, they are not. They'll also mark up any changes that need to be made.
It's got a flat here, yeah.
To slopes and curves along all contours.
These should all be 4. Anything that's moving next to a flat, like a fixed piece, should be 4 millimeters.
Every markup is another delay in getting the body painted.
JD, can we get the hood on? The cover.
There's a reason the engine cover isn't currently on the car.
It doesn't fit in there right now. It's literally touching this.
We should have about 10 or 12 on clearance to it.
This is a critical issue that could affect the geometry of the entire car, as well as the already tight schedule.
If they can lower it and the flange, it mates better to the inner, and we reduce the flange of that, we could get 15 or 20 mil. I think they were meant to have about 15,
This shit has to happen today.
Yeah.
This has to happen today. If it isn't finished today, it isn't happening.
So we're at a pivotal point that we're in the studio, and obviously there's no cars behind us, so that's very encouraging news. Car 1 is being completely broken apart and getting prepped for its last final stages to get painted. So it'll actually be getting painted this week. So coloring going on a car is obviously the light at the end of the tunnel is very, very near in that case. And car 2 got pulled this weekend and is now in the gap in surfacing phases of that. So car 2 is actually part of it's going to be exposed carbon fiber. So there's a couple extra steps we need to do on that side of it, but the rest will start getting primed and prepped just like car 1 did for its time for the paint booth as well.
Chip Foose is here because he is a master designer, builder, and he's going to contribute to making our gold leaf even more beautiful than it could possibly be.
I'm pulling the areas out that I want to apply the color in. So as a Union Jack on the driver's side, this is the first mask that'll go down. And I'm taking up all the areas that I'm going to spray white over the top of the red. Then I'll peel the blue. The blue will lay down over top of the white, and only the areas that we weed will stay blue.
Chip, are you thinking this is going to be a all-night thing?
This should go fairly quick.
Yeah.
My question is dry time.
Did we get glass yet?
Not yet.
I know. 6 weeks ago, I said to you, lights, glass.
Yep.
All we need is lights and glass.
Yeah.
What do we have?
Neither. As you can see, we got the car completely masked. We got all the bumpers and clams taped, masked. All the gold has been laid down. We've been here about 12 hours so far. We're gonna keep running throughout the night.
About 8 hours to get all the masking done for the first color. Bummer is we got 5 colors.
Chip works through the night to finally finish pinstriping the gold leaf car. The first piece through to the shop is the bonnet.
Yeah. It is.
You can see all the lights in it.
I know, yeah, look at the highlights around here.
Yeah, that's cool. It looks like you put extra lights.
I know, yeah.
The car is currently missing one key ingredient, its primary builder.
Unfortunately, Ant had to go to the UK for something else. And I just heard today that the US made an announcement that they're not going to allow travel between the UK and the US. So there's a good chance that Ant is going to be stuck in the UK quarantining and miss all the events. I know he's going to be super disappointed. I'm going to be super disappointed. He's the guy who's going to help me do all this. Ideally, I'd love to have 4 or 5 people working on the car. We could split people up and kind of divide and conquer, but if it's just 2 of us, that'll be tough.
We'll make it happen. We'll get him here, you know? I'll paddle on a boat if I have to. Get him over here.
The Radford team meet to discuss options for getting both cars ready for the public reveal next week. It looks like the custom candy black paint job for the JPS is a step too far.
There's 2 options, really.
It's a Mercedes high gloss black.
And we take the car to Quail, or we say it takes as long as it takes to be right.
If candy wasn't available and it was black, it's still going to look like a world-class car.
Here is the issue. The black gold is pivotal for the Quail because it's going to be outside in the sun.
Quail is an opportunity to show our product to the world. If we go out and repeat with a second car, everyone's going to be like, holy fuck. A week later, they've got a JPS car at Quail. Oh, those guys are serious.
I don't disagree with you, but my problem is that we're putting ourselves out there with a product that isn't as good as it should be because we've already compromised on the gold leaf.
The fact that we're only disappointed is because we've mentioned candy paint.
No, it's not. It's because, and it's not. It's because it looks freaking amazing, and we're not.
No, I get it, but it's off the table.
We shouldn't be putting stuff out there that's substandard, and it will be substandard. We're trying to basically create a company that just doesn't compromise.
I think if the car was all black, I totally get what you're saying, but it's not going to be all black, is it? It's going to have JPS all over it. It's going to have a unique style to it. And I don't think people are going to look at it and go, it doesn't shine like I expected it to. I think people are going to see the design and the black on it and go, fuck, it works, it pops because it has the gold detail.
Okay, we'll just compromise again. So we've got no lights, we've got no headlights, we've got no interior, we've got no rear lights. Now we've got a basic paint that you get on a Mercedes car that goes down the road. And I just don't think that's what Radford's about, you know?
The problem with candy is you have to have the entire car assembled. Then you spray the entire car. If you don't, you run the risk of the panels not matching. When you just do a two-stage black, you can paint the front clam on Monday at noon. You can paint the rear clam on Monday night. You can paint the roof Wednesday morning, you know, and you can assemble as you go, dry fit as you go. It buys you tons of time. So it's really freaking risky.
We're going to go for it, we're going to do it. Are you going to say we're going to gamble and go for it, or are you going to stay safe and go for it and all that?
Mate, we're like, how far from Vegas? I'm a gambling man, so I will always go for it. If it means that we're going to get the best product out there and there's a risk, we'll weigh up the risk, obviously, but, I'm all up for it.
With the quail unveiling of the JPS only 7 days away, the Radford team calls a meeting with the Aria team to discuss a paint process that typically takes 3 weeks.
There is a massive risk to do this. Massive.
And the things that can go wrong are?
Solvent pop, it can be splotchy, it doesn't match, like we burn through when we're polishing. I mean, ultimately, it is your guys' decision on whether you want to go forward with this or not.
What's the likelihood, percentage-wise, that there is going to be something?
It's right there, 5% is the likelihood it's going to make it.
As the mad dash of racing to assemble the gold leaf continues,
How much of the interior can we build before paint?
it slowly begins its march to the finish line. However, the JPS is still waiting on a color decision.
Which one is blacker? Which one maintains its deepness?
I feel like the one you took away.
But not in the side panel, see? That one is just slightly cooler.
But it is just black.
If we surprised the world with a second car that was just, say, a black car, that would be epic. But the fact that we're surprising the world with our second livery, and then on top of that, it's the John Player Special, that's going to be super impactful. We're never going to have that chance again. So yeah, it's important to have it there.
So let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
It seems like you're coming to terms. It's more important to have the wow factor of the second car than possibly have that amazing paint job go wrong and not take the JPS car.
I can't answer that yet.
With just 1 day to go before the Gold Leaf reveal event, an exciting package arrives.
There you go, mate. You next. That is real gold.
What? You imagine that on a necklace?
You know, like the 90s where everyone stole.
Leaving the other boys to play with their toys for once, Ant grabs Chip to help with the Lotus lettering.
Yeah.
What, sweetie?
Right.
Denmark.
Jewelry, right?
Yeah, very nice. You need these?
Yeah, right. Yeah, weigh them in.
Our glass was shipped. Mark got a text saying glass will arrive in an hour, but they delivered it to the showroom at Lido and no one's there. We're all here. So the courier's gone.
And they've rescheduled delivery for Monday, which isn't going to work. One of the most expensive and difficult things to do on a car is to produce a new windscreen. And early on, we said, well, we've got to do it. We looked at actually, a GT40 windscreen or trying to source a windscreen somewhere else, an Evora as well. We looked at trying to put an Evora windscreen on there. And ultimately, it'll make the car so much better if we do it with our own bespoke windscreens.
So he said it's on its way back to a warehouse, but now he's saying the warehouse that it's going to doesn't allow customer pickups, and so he's trying to call the warehouse.
This is a disaster.
While all this drama unfolds, Chip is in the zone, laying the Gold Lotus lettering.
Glass, they spoke to the courier, and the guy's journey ends at 5 p.m. So the best we can do is intercept it when it gets to the depot.
Will they let us do that?
That's what we're doing.
Where's the glass?
The glass got delivered to Lido and no one's there, so they're like, we'll reschedule for Monday.
We got an email saying
Your delivery's been rescheduled.
rescheduled for Monday because no one was there.
I can't breathe.
We'll just have them on standby. Okay.
Sorry, I've got Dan on the phone. He's at FedEx.
Okay.
I don't know if I get a windshield in my car.
What's happening?
What isn't happening?
Agreed.
Currently, Clive believes that he has until 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon to get the car ready for its big reveal. But unknowingly to him, the car is supposed to be at the event at 5 a.m. for press pictures to be taken of it, which would cut Clive's work time in half.
Why the fuck are we hearing about it now?
An hour ago. I know. I've already had this out with them. You know, this other guy.
Who the fuck came up with it? We already had our scheduling meeting for who was working on the weekend and blah, blah, blah. That was 2 days.
Clive, I know, I get it. I'm just saying, you've got to just work with what we're being dealt with. I'm as pissed off as you are, but there's no point fucking losing it. Do you know what I mean?
You can tell the powers that be I'm less than fucking happy that we found out about this earlier.
I lost my shit with the guys.
I'm just pissed that nobody made the point so we could accommodate with the staff and get everybody to know and all that, and not suddenly at 5 o'clock on Friday say, by the way, guys, we forgot to tell you, but you're going to work all night tonight. It's a fuck you thing. It's very disrespectful.
I get Clive's point. Do you know what I mean? He's pissed because we've just taken away half a day of his time, right? So, and he's right, rightly so.
Things are starting to look up due to the team being able to secure the missing glass. All that leaves now is for them to install it and hope that it fits. Jensen's request to make the car track wider meant new wishbones, new uprights and new hubs. On top of that, the car had new brakes and suspension too. Then new wheels designed to fit the race-style centre locks.
My heart is beating really fast, and I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really proud, super grateful of this entire team. You know, it's shrinking, it's shrinking. I know. And I want to tell you something, it's going to get worse. So the key to slowing it down is do not put it in the sun. Do not put this car in the fucking sun.
It's going to be the sun tomorrow.
After almost a year of dreaming, planning and working, near every hour of every day, the time has come to reveal to the world the first Radford car in decades.
This is supposed to be the end, but the irony is it's the beginning. Tonight, as soon as we launch it, it's the start of Radford. And everything that we've done over the last few months was merely the foreplay.
If first impressions truly matter, the Radford team is off to a great start. Now it's time for the Gold Leaf to get one last accessory. The to-do list is all checked off.
It's got to that point now that it's been going on for months and months, and you know this last 10%'s been so much. I'm at the same as Mark. I just want to get the cover off and
Celebrate.
reveal Radford. The tight deadline has pulled everybody together because if you choose the right people, they all pull towards a driven cause, and you know tonight stands testament to that.
I would say that I haven't spent enough time looking at the car, which is mad.
I'm the opposite. I've spent too much time looking at the car.
No, but you haven't. You haven't spent that much time looking at the complete car. When you see it on the ground with its stance, we had a quick glimpse of it earlier on, but then we're dragged away to do pictures or other things, and then the cover goes on. So for me, that's the bit that I can't wait to see, is when that comes off. I'm just going to be staring at her all night long.
If you build a car, how do you get measured? How does success get measured?
And as a car builder, it gets measured on whether someone buys it. So if you auction a car, there's a measure. You know, if you get 2 people that like it and the price is high, you can say, wow, I built a car that's worth X. But, you know, ultimately, if no one buys a car, we failed.
Team Radford, get out here. Let's do a group. Come on. Yeah, don't scratch in. On the count of 3. There's no I in Radford, it's a team. So.
Within seconds, photos of the Radford Lotus Gold Leaf are being sent out to the world. But for Team Radford, the celebration can't last. Another car, the JPS, demands their attention. Just hours after their successful unveiling of the Radford Gold Leaf, the team was hit with the reality that their gamble to go for the black candy paint treatment has failed. There was only a 5% chance the black candy paint choice would work in the first place. Now, there's 0 chance the JPS will premiere at Monterey.
So solvent pop is where your first initial layers underneath the surfaces are still trying to gas out or still trying to think of it as cure, but yet you have more material on top of that that's stopping that from that. And it creates these little tiny little microscopic bubbles that you can see, and they turn into kind of little white spots. So it almost looks like little white speckles underneath the clear. And there's no saving that. We had to put way more coats of candy down than we were anticipating. It was a one-shot kind of deal to where it was all or nothing, and unfortunately it didn't pay off.
With this setback, the team elected to make some small changes to the existing Gold Leaf car and next stop the Quail event in Monterey. Quail is one of the finest launch platforms on the annual car calendar. And in the middle of it all is the little car company that could, Radford, reborn and ready to make some noise.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Type 62-2. Woo!
The Gold Leaf has been a massive success with the public and trade alike. But 2 months later, and where this journey started, the JPS car finally has its moment in the sun.
Wow.
It's mad, isn't it? Now, I'm looking at the side of that building with the Lotus sign on it, and the Lotus sign on the back of our car, John Player Special on the side. On the tarmac at Hethel, where it started, it almost feels like the last 18 months has been a blur.
It has.
It has been a blur. Yeah, it's been a blur.
It's been a busy 18 months, but when you look at this, so worth it. It's funny, isn't it? We know it's a beautiful car, but when you see it here,
it becomes romantic.
It does. How curvaceous it is. And I had a Lotus employee come up to me earlier and said, "You've put new lights on the rear. Everything's bespoke. It's not just the lights, it's the wing mirrors, it's the wheels, it's the center locks."
The profile's pretty cool because it feels like a Europa if you look at the Hickman drawing.
Yeah, which was the whole idea.
Right, pick it. What's your favorite angle?
It will be to show off these wheel arches. So whether it's in front of the wheel arches, crouched down, or it's from the side, that for me is the standout part of this car because you just do not see that on cars these days.
Yeah, look at that, that's epic. Also, this is where the paint really comes alive. You can see all that extra effort that went into the pearl. Oh, I just love its simplicity.
So you get into it and you're properly in the car, you close the door in on you, do the seatbelts up, and everything just feels right. The steering wheel's in the right place. The pedal layout is perfect. The gear stick, because we have a nice gear stick, you're in tune with the car when you drive with a manual box.
Yeah.
Heel and towing, it's a skill.
It's not overly digital. You haven't got all swipe screens. I love the clocks.
The clocks.
The clocks, look at this.
We could have put them into the dash, but it's so much cooler that they're out. They're in your face and they're angled towards the driver as well, which I really like.
So we're at Lotus, where this started for us, what feels like a decade ago. You're a racing driver and this is a track.
Emotional moment. Driving the Type 62 for the first time. So many people have ideas and they have dreams when it comes to building cars. So many fail. So many startups fail. This small team at Radford were able to pull it all together when times were difficult and get through them, and this is the end result. It's the first time I've sat in this car with the engine running, driving through the gears, down the gears, through high-speed corners, low-speed. It's the first time. This is all brand new.
This is the moment, you know, everything else that's come before this, the reveal, the builds, the triumphs, and everything that we've done mean nothing now because we built something that physically works.
This car will have 600 horsepower, which is just madness, weighing 1,000 kilograms. It's an old school way of thinking. Keep it light and lightness, as Colin Chapman used to always say. And the important thing for me is that it's mechanically great. That's the area where we can all use that grit, and it's sustainable. My aim was to make every person that drives this car smile. Look at this. It works. Guys, we have built a monster. We're purists. We're doing this because we want to build something special, and we have. I think that's why people love the story of Radford and Radford Returns. It's funny, actually, when I first got in it, the first few laps, I was trying to talk, but I was kind of too emotional.
Oh, really? Did you have a moment?
To get the words out. You know, being involved with something like this is so special. You know, my whole career was pretty awesome, racing for so many years in F1 and what I've done since. But this kind of feels just as special as winning a world championship because there's been so much work that's gone into this. And being involved with the development of a car, the design of a car, the feel of a car, it's my dream. So yeah, this is pretty amazing.
Yeah! We built a Lotus.
We have.
So I'll tell you now that great things, great companies aren't built by one person. I hope Harold Radford and Colin Chapman would be really proud of what we've done. And I think both of those guys are quite similar, you know. They did a lot with very little, and we've done the same.
The small team that is Radford set out to build a supercar, the last ever petrol-powered Lotus. They achieved that and so much more. This marks not the end but the beginning of a new era for this iconic brand. And now that the automotive world know Radford has returned, they'll need to build on this success and lift the bar yet further on their next project. As a man called Henry Ford once said, Some men may succeed because they are destined to, but most men succeed because they are determined to.
Look at these boys! This is Radford.
It is.
Oh. Anyway, let me get my hands
That's
up.
beautiful. Yeah, thanks.
Leave my hands in and just rest on your knees. Sorry, what was the question?